Part 76. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 751. Wang Ye came to propose a toast, and he was bored. How could Su Yang have any reason to raise fish? Regarding Wang Ye, or Wang Ye, I neglected this in the previous chapters, so I'll give you a hint, it's actually Wang Ye. Nowadays, the sky is getting dark, Su Yang has drunk a lot of wine, and he is in a state of tipsy. Being drunk was uncomfortable, but being tipsy was very comfortable and my mood improved a lot. There are many dangers in the recovery of spiritual energy. I don't know what the outcome will be and what difficulties are waiting for Su Yang. Even if the spiritual energy recovery is successful by luck, what happens next will be even more cruel. Even if Yanlong Immortal Emperor is left behind this time, there are still 2 immortal emperors outside the territory. And, according to what Jing Ke said, the ancestral dragon thousands of years ago had already entered the imperial realm. But the Yanlong Immortal Emperor who came to the earth at that time was only in the quasi-emperor realm. Even if he could sweep across the earth's quasi-emperors, he couldn't be compared with the ancestral dragon. But Zilong chose to leave the earth before the arrival of Immortal Emperor Yanlong, saying that he was looking for methods outside the territory. This was obviously strange. In short, it is true that the earth is in crisis. I am afraid that there will be few opportunities to relax like this in the future. Su Yang, let me toast you again. At this time, Wang Ye poured himself another glass of wine from the wine bottle in his hand, and then drank it all. Ha, good drinker. When Su Yang came back to his senses, he was naturally unambiguous. He filled a glass of wine from the wine bottle on the table, raised his head and drank it. Without the use of spiritual energy to dissolve alcohol, everyone will become drunk if they drink too much. Su Yang drank 2 glasses of wine in a row. 1 glass was about 2 taels, which was only half a caddy. So at this moment, Su Yang felt elated and realized that he could no longer drink. But Wang Ye refused to give up. He filled himself up again, drank it all, and then looked at Su Yang. It seems to mean that nothing is said and everything is in the wine. Su Yang was so drunk that he couldn't stand such a provocation. He smiled heartily and said, "The 3rd cup will be with you." After drinking the 3rd cup, Su Yang's body swayed, and it was obvious that he was not feeling well. "Su Yang, it's not interesting to drink 1 cup at a time. I still have more than 2 cups in this bottle. I'll just blow on the bottle. Don't say I'm bullying you. Just drink 1 cup." Wang Ye could tell that Su Yang had drunk too much, and the gap between his own strength and Su Yang was getting wider and wider. He was trying to get his place back, so naturally he would not miss this opportunity. No, this is liquor, not beer. How can you blow on the bottle?" Su Yang was about to stop him, but Wang Ye had already picked up the bottle and drank it down. "Su Yang, it's your turn." Wang Ye looked at Su Yang and smiled softly. "Su Yang, no, leader, you are not afraid anymore, are you?" Su Yang hesitated. If he finished drinking, he would be completely confused, so he hesitated a little. "Leader, don't be cowardly. Taoist Master Wang Ye is not as strong as you, and he will definitely not be as good as you when it comes to drinking." Yes, leader, this is about a man's face. How can you admit defeat? It's his fault. Leader, I believe you can do it. Isn't it just half a bottle of wine? Grit your teeth, close your eyes, and finish it. Come on, leader, we will win. Come on, leader, we will win. Everyone at the scene noticed what was going on here and started to boo, and they all gathered around. Just do it. Seeing this, Su Yang's little vanity suddenly rose in his drunken state. After saying that, Su Yang drank half a bottle of Maotai flavor liquor without hesitation, leaving everyone present stunned. At this time, everyone had drunk too much. The previous claims that you would never get drunk even after 1,000 cups of wine were all bragging. They all trembled when they saw Su Yang being so bold and clearing the bottle in one go. As for Wang Ye, after finishing the wine in the bottle, he said goodbye to Su Yang and the elders present, and left politely. "Good fellow, Master Wang, you can do this as a disciple. Even after drinking so much, your face doesn't change and you don't walk unsteadily." Su Yang watched Wang Ye leave, shook his head, and said with admiration, "I admire it, I admire it. He has a better drinking capacity than me. How much can he drink on a regular basis?" "A teetotaler." Wang Konggyun, who was next door, responded with a smile, "How can a Taoist drink alcohol? A bad person must remember the rules and never drink. This is terrifying. He is so strong after drinking for the first time. He is a true pride of heaven. I would like to call him the best drinker in the ancient martial arts world," Su Yang said seriously. "Leader Su, you misunderstood." Wang Konggyun smiled when he heard this, and then whispered, "What the scoundrel drank just now was not wine, but water. We people in Wudane Mountain always drink tea instead of wine. This is a rule and everyone knows about it," Wang Konggyun added. Su Yang was dumbfounded and said in disbelief, "You mean, what Wang Ye drank just now was water?" "Not bad," Wang Konggyun nodded and admitted. "Nima." No wonder the boy's expression didn't change when he drank. He drank water for his emotions. Su Yang's face instantly darkened, and he muttered, "I was actually fooled. What a loss. Wang Ye, this kid, can't drink wine. No, what the hell, he doesn't drink. This kid can't drink water. I despise him." Amitabha. At this time, Abbot Yuantong, who was sitting at the 3 o'clock position, put his hands together and said, "Leader Su, Taoist Wang Ye is not to blame for this matter. We in Wudane Mountain and Bodhi Mountain are all people who have separated from the secular world. We abstain from alcohol and meat. You must respect our eating habits. For us, wine and meat are like poison that penetrates the intestines. It is really difficult to swallow." Baok Siang, the abbot of Yuantong, said solemnly, "The wine is not bad. It is brewed with whole grains. It is acceptable. However, it is easy to mess up the mind after being drunk. It is not suitable for monks. Meat is even more taboo for us. It is already a sin for a poor monk to sit here today and see a table full of delicacies from the mountains and seas. Hey!" Abbot Yuantong put his hands together and then said, "Everyone, eat slowly. The poor monk must recite the mantra of rebirth to see off these living beings who died in vain due to people's desire to eat." Hearing this, Su Yang felt awestruck, full of respect for Abbot Yuantong, and didn't think there was anything wrong with him mentioning it at this time. As Abbot Yuantong said, he must respect the eating habits of monks. Therefore, Su Yang nodded and politely returned a Buddhist salute. Abbot Yuantong Jie is worthy of being an eminent monk. It is really admirable for a monk to be able to endure all kinds of emotions and desires. Yes, all those who cultivate their minds are worthy of admiration. We secular people may not be able to resist even one of the temptations they have experienced. Everyone at the scene looked at Abbot Yuantong with admiration. Some people even imitated Abbot Yuantong and clasped their hands. For a moment, the Buddha's trumpet sounded at the scene, and the atmosphere was very solemn. "Senior brother." But at this moment, Foziwaji suddenly ran over, holding a duck leg in each hand, his mouth full of oil, and said excitedly, "Kyoto roast duck, freshly baked, still steaming, try it quickly, taste." "What? Kyoto roast duck? There's Kyoto roast duck here." Unexpectedly, when Abbot Yuantong heard the word roast duck, his power was instantly broken. He was even more excited than Buddhawaji. He said with a trembling voice, "No wonder I smelled a special fragrance earlier and was always curious about what it was. It turned out to be Kyoto roast duck. Ah, good junior brother, bring it to senior brother to have a taste. Senior brother has no other hobbies. He is most obsessed with roast duck. I am so lucky to be able to eat Kyoto roast duck today. Brother, this duck leg is just for you. Here it goes. Fozawuji generously threw the roast duck leg in his right hand to Abbot Yuentong. Ha ha, ha ha ha. Abbot Yuentong took the roast duck, laughed twice at first, and then chewed it regardless of the image. Well, this scene made everyone at the scene confused, and everyone had a look of astonishment on their faces. Even Shihan, Wan Konggaun, Charity Shitai and others at the same table were all the same, and they were extremely surprised. Su Yang had black lines all over his head and wiped sweat. Grandma, you just told me righteously and righteously, let me respect your food culture. I respect it, but do you respect it yourself? You turn your head and eat the big duck leg. Abbot, Abbot, can't we insist on eating secretly when no one is around? This way we can at least maintain our image in everyone's mind. After chewing for more than 10 seconds, Abbot Yuentong realized that the duck legs were almost gone. He lost his composure. It was the poor monk who lost his composure. Abbot Yuentong threw the bones aside, wiped the oil stains from the corners of his mouth, and said awkwardly, "Dear donors, don't just look at the poor monk. The roast duck is very delicious, but it won't taste good when it's cold." Cough. Su Yang came to his senses and couldn't help but ask, "Abbot, didn't you just ask me to respect the eating habits of monks? Why did you?" Amitabha. Upon hearing this, Abbot Yuentong immediately became serious and said seriously, "The wine and meat passed through the intestines, and the Buddha's heart remained. The reason why the poor monk ate this duck leg was just to fulfill his wish. It is already dead and has been made into roast duck. If I don't eat it, it will be worthless and I will not have any merit in this life. I will definitely go to hell." Abbot Yuentong continued, "Now, it has been sacrificed to the 5 internal organs temple of the poor monk, and the poor monk will be grateful to it. For it has produced merit, and its final journey in this life will naturally be much smoother. Although the poor monk cannot guarantee that it will definitely achieve positive results, the pain of the 18 hells has nothing to do with it." Abbot Yuentong clasped his hands together and recited the Buddha's name, Amitabha. If a poor monk breaks the precepts and sacrifices himself to bring merit to a living being, that poor monk will never look back. As the saying goes, if I don't go to hell, who will? Amitabha, that's good. At the end, Abbot Yuentong recited the Buddha's name again, his hands were oily and he looked out of place. However, everyone at the scene thought it made sense, and they all nodded silently to express their support for Abbot Yuentong. That. Su Yang said, "Abbot, actually, it doesn't matter if you don't eat this duck leg. There are so many of us. Since it has been baked, how can it be wasted? Why should you break the precept and embarrass yourself?" Su Yang couldn't help but said, almost laughing. Poor monk. Abbot Yuentong didn't know how to explain it for a while. He hesitated for a few seconds without saying a word. Ha ha. Next. The head of the Shangguan family, Shangguan Wuyuan, had been taken into the Void Tower by Su Yang a long time ago. This can increase the speed of cultivation and strive to take the half-step of becoming a god as soon as possible. Shi Han patted Su Yang's shoulder appreciatively, and then said, "Now, I have already stepped into the half-step of martial arts, which many people don't know." This scene made everyone at the scene laugh and added a little fun to the wine party. "It's because of the danger that I have to follow you." Shi Han raised his eyebrows and said unhappily, "What, you think that I am not as strong as you? Will I become a burden to you?" Before I knew it, it was already late at night. Su Yang nodded directly and struck mercilessly, "Grandpa, you are only a half-step martial saint, not even a real martial saint, and the masters outside the house are all at the peak of nascent soul." Abbot Yuentong gritted his teeth. He had already made an exception in public anyway, so what if he took 2 more bites? He simply broke the jar and ate it with big mouthfuls. There were only 2 people here, Su Yang and Shi Hehan, and the surroundings were quiet except for the chirping of birds and the chirping of insects. As for the drunkenness, Su Yang got over it when he left the wine table. But remember, kid, I am your grandpa. Sooner or later, I will grow up to support you. When the time comes, I want you to cry and beg me for help. Shi Hehan suddenly felt ashamed, and then said angrily, "Okay, you boy, you really dare to say that you won't save any face for grandpa. If it were someone else, he would politely refuse. This, right. Disaster. A short period of relaxation is enough, the recovery of spiritual energy is about to begin, and he needs to stay awake. If you go to Jiangbei with me, won't that cause me trouble? I will have to distract you to protect you," Su Yang said, deliberately pretending to be disgusted. "Okay, Abbot, stop pretending, just eat what you want. Now that the country allows monks to get married, there are still so many rules about what to do," Su Yang advised. Others at the scene also reacted, but due to the prestige of Abbot Yuantong, they only dared to laugh secretly. "Ha ha ha, face the difficulties. Well, you are worthy of being my grandson, Shi Hehan." After drinking and eating, Su Yang and Shi Hehan walked out of the Shangguan family together and came to a quiet park. "I am only 1 step away from the real martial saint. Su Yang, please let me go to Jiangbei with you. I can help you revive your spiritual energy," Shi Hehan said seriously. "Well, yes, it is true." Su Yang nodded and said, "But I must face the difficulties and seize the opportunity, otherwise the earth will be more difficult in the future." Su Yang said goodbye to Shi Hehan, then called Su King Ai and left the Shangguan family together. "Haha, okay, Grandpa, I'm looking forward to that day." But, if that's the case, then the poor monk, you're not welcome." Seeing this, Su Yang couldn't help it anymore and laughed out loud. "Grandpa, because I know that I can't refuse you politely," Su Yang said with a wry smile. Su Yang shook his head and said with a smile, "No, the trip to Jiangbei is full of crises. You should return to the place of Zen." "Grandpa." The more Shi Hehan looked at Su Yang, the more satisfied he became, and he turned to say, "That's okay, I won't go over and cause you any trouble." Su Yang smiled. It was quite comfortable to chat with his grandfather. After all, he was a close relative. "Su Yang, tell me honestly, is it difficult to revive spiritual energy?" Shi Hehan looked at Su Yang and asked seriously. This made Abbot Yuantong very embarrassed, with a dark face at a loss. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 752. On this trip to Jiangbei, Su Yang's biggest trump card is naturally the terrifying Jingkai at the foot of Jufeng Mountain. As long as the teleportation array is arranged, he can travel between Jufeng Mountain and Jiangbei at will, allowing Jingkai to deal with the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor. In addition, Su Yang did not have any powerful helpers around him, such as Guo Yi, Nangang Yu, the head of the Nangang family, and Su King Ai. None of these 3 people could compete with experts from outside the region. Guo Yi used the Qing Fan and could barely hold on for a moment in the hands of nascent Soul Peak, but he would eventually lose. Wu Qingying, the only powerful ancient martial artist, is in retreat at Jufeng Mountain. It is not known whether he will be able to leave the retreat when his spiritual energy recovers. The previous Su Mo should not be weak in strength, but now he is missing, so I won't mention it. Now Su Yang's second trump card is Shangguan Wuyuan. Shangguan Wuyuan, who is in the realm of 9 revolution false pills, if he can ignore the ominous situation, his progress will definitely be very terrifying, and it will definitely come in handy. Without Shangguan Wuyuan, it would be difficult to cope with the chaotic situation when the spiritual energy is revived with only the current strength. Even if Su Yang takes away immortal Emperor Yanlong and there are other experts from outside the region, if the 5 Jiangbei people resist, there will definitely be problems. Now that the matter was over, Su Yang no longer thought about these problems. The group took a helicopter and quickly headed to Jiangbei. The next morning, Jiangbei, Su family manor. A helicopter hovered overhead and soon landed in the courtyard. Whoosh! 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 In an instant, a dozen tall figures sprang out and surrounded the helicopter. These dozen or so people are all about the same height and very tall. Each one of them is like a hill. They are exceptionally strong, with bulging muscles, and they are full of strength at first glance. Captain, a helicopter has broken into the manor. The opponent's strength is ominous. Please support us quickly. At this moment, someone passed a message through the intercom. Immediately afterwards, within the manor, dozens of powerful auras came again, and one of them was the most powerful. In the blink of an eye, these people landed in the courtyard from all directions, staring warily at the helicopter parked in the center. Team leader. The dozen or so people in front greeted him in unison with respectful faces. More than a dozen people, plus dozens more, there were a total of 49 burly men at the scene. 49, bloody massacre. Yes, these are the men Su Yang left in Jiangbei, members of the blood massacre. The person called captain is Xiao Ting, the former captain of the Su family's secret guard. Long ago, Su Yang taught them the cultivation method, the Qinglong body training technique, and the Fulong combined attack technique. 49 members of the blood slaughter, coupled with Xiao Ting's command, can explode with powerful power that is heart-stopping. Back then, they had almost touched the threshold of Tianzong. Now, half a year later, they are even stronger. Qi and blood are surging in every body, and they are unstoppable. Everyone is really like a dragon. Your Excellency, this is the Su family in Jiangbei. Since you are here, why not show up and see us? At this time, Xiao Ting stared at the helicopter and said in a calm tone, but his whole body was prepared. Wow! The next moment, the helicopter's hatch was opened. Then, under the watchful eyes of the 49 blood slaughter members and Xiao Ting, Su Yang stepped out of the helicopter. Master, Master, Master is back. It's really the Master. Half a year has passed, and I didn't expect that the Master is really back. Haha, it's the Master, he's still alive. Subordinate pays homage to the Master. Meet the Master. Meet the Master. Meet the Master. After everyone saw Su Yang, they were all stunned. After reacting, they were immediately excited and ecstatic. Then, under the leadership of Xiao Ting, 40 or 50 people all knelt down on one knee, cupped their fists with their hands, and saluted Su Yang. Coupled with the loud voices, the scene was very shocking. Just like that, Su Yang got off the helicopter and stood in front of everyone, with Su Qing'ai following behind him. Haha, I haven't seen you for half a year, and you have become a lot stronger. Su Yang raised his hand slightly, looked around the audience and said with a smile, everyone, get up and talk. Yes. The 50 people present agreed in unison, and then stood up in unison. They were divided into 7 rows, talking and moving in unison. Su Yang looked at it twice, and then said in surprise, your strength has become much stronger. The essence and blood in your body are surging. Now everyone can match the peak of Danji. What's going on? Reply to the Master. At this time, Xiao Ting, who was standing at the front, responded respectfully, it's like this. About half a year ago, someone came from Kunlun Mountain and picked up the Master and the head of the family. Originally, we wanted to go with him, but we knew that it would be difficult to improve our strength after going to Kunlun, so we refused. Xiao Ting continued, after that, we left the Su family manor and traveled around the world. Wherever there is war, we will be there. In the past 6 months, we have participated in hundreds of battles as employees, and we have been bathed in blood almost every day. Not only that, we also went deep into various primitive forests and endless deep seas, and hunted many large creatures. Xiaoting led the team to achieve their current achievements, so he wanted to show off in front of his master, so he said a little proudly, with those blood essences, our strength will naturally improve by leaps and bounds. Okay, okay. When Su Yang heard this, he couldn't help but praise, Xiaoting, you did a good job. Master, thank you. Xiaoting was so excited that he quickly said, all of this is given by the master. The master's magical skills are unparalleled and his power is boundless. Okay, this flattery is really harsh, don't do it again next time, Su Yang said with a smile. Yes. Xiaoting scratched the back of his head, showed an embarrassed smile, and then said, recently we heard that the world is about to be in chaos, and the source of the chaos is in Jiangbei. So I led the blood slaughter members and rushed back from the other side of the world. Xiaoting looked at Su Yang and asked respectfully, Master, are you coming back this time because of the so-called chaos? Su Yang nodded, then said, you have grown to this point, which is beyond my expectation, so I won't hide it from you. You must have learned a lot in the past 6 months. You should be familiar with cultivators. You have also heard a lot about cultivators. I just want to explain more. Su Yang said directly, if nothing unexpected happens, the earth may usher in a revival of spiritual energy in the next 2 days. The place where the spiritual energy recovery will begin is in Jiangbei. I don't know where exactly it is. As long as spiritual energy recovery is activated, cultivators on earth will be able to improve their realm infinitely and no longer have to be restrained. Su Yang said seriously, and this time, is to promote the revival of spiritual energy and kill all those who stand in my way. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 753. The master has the world in mind, and his subordinates admire him. Xiaoting clasped his fists and said, we are willing to follow the master, clear the way forward for the master, and let the spiritual energy revive on the earth. I am willing to follow my master. I am willing to follow my master. I am willing to follow my master. Suddenly, there was another roar of mountains and tsunami. The sound wave was like a sharp sword, soaring into the sky. Even the clouds in mid-air were split in half. Good. Su Yang nodded and said with a smile, you are very good. Although if you are one-on-one, you can only deal with the peak of the core formation, but you have practiced the dragon's combined attack technique. If you use the combined attack technique, you will definitely be able to cross the realm. You will definitely be able to fight when you encounter the peak of nascent soul. Su Yang smiled and said, in that case, you can follow me, but now, you still need to practice hard. Next, I will provide you with a training place. You can go in and practice without restraint. If you are needed, I will let you out. Su Yang looked around at the 49 blood slaughter members present and asked, are you willing? Willing. Everyone said in unison. Su Yang nodded gently, and then took out the void tower, suspended in mid-air, emitting bright light. Buzz. The next moment, the void tower shone brightly and produced a strong suction force. Immediately afterwards, you can see that the members of the Blood Massacre lined up and were sucked into the void tower one by one. Soon only Xiaoting was left on the scene. Although they were full of unknowns about the void tower, they were very surprised when they saw the void tower. But, naturally, they would not hesitate in doing anything their master asked them to do. Let alone entering a small tower, even if it is a mountain of swords, a sea of fire, or 18 levels of hell, they will never frown. Xiaoting, Wait a moment, I'll ask you some questions. Xiaoting wanted to enter the void tower, but was stopped by Su Yang. Xiaoting asked respectfully, Master, what is going on? I will tell you everything I know. I took a helicopter just now and passed by my riverside villa, but I found that it was in ruins. Su Yang looked at Xiaoting and asked doubtfully, do you know what happened? Is it a natural disaster or man-made? Su Yang has feelings for the riverside villa, so he wanted to go back to live in the riverside villa. However, when I got there, I discovered that the riverside villa was gone and surrounded by green iron sheets. There were ruins inside, so I had no choice but to come to the Su family manor. Owner. When Xiaoting heard this, he smiled bitterly and said, when we left Jiangbei, something happened at the riverside villa. No one knows what happened specifically. The head of the family and the old man sent people to investigate, but unfortunately nothing was found, and the matter was settled in the end. Xiaoting guessed, it shouldn't be man-made. There is nothing in the riverside villa, and there are no traces of explosives exploding. There are no strong people with such strength in Jiangbei. I remember watching the news at the time. The official explanation was crustal movement and local earthquake. It was also said that this was a very rare situation that could only happen once in 1,000 years. Xiaoting asked curiously, Master, is the official explanation true? Crustal movement? Local earthquake? This is too rare. If something goes wrong, there must be a monster. Su Yang feels that it is most likely caused by humans. However, he didn't bother to pursue the matter without any clues, it was pointless. But Su Yang remembered that there were 10 top beauties in the riverside villa. It was originally given by Li Chunfeng, and Su Yang didn't intend to accept it, but he found that among the 10 people, one person had a special physique, named Lu Wanyan. Therefore, Su Yang accepted them, signed a master-servant contract with those 10 people, and taught them the Guangan technique. Guangan Ju is a technique that is practiced by absorbing the power of moonlight. It is very suitable to be practiced on earth. Before Su Yang set out for Wudane Mountain, he arranged 10 people from Lu Wanyan to live in a villa by the river. Void Tower. Xiaoting responded respectfully, and in an instant, his body was sucked into the Void Tower. But laughed. When he thought of Li Feixuan, Su Yang raised a comfortable smile and took Su Qing'ai straight to the Li family manor. Break the Void Tower? Feixuan, I'm here. I haven't seen you for half a year. I don't know whether you have gained weight or lost weight, or whether you have become more beautiful. Yes. Forget it, let it be fate. I have taught them the Guangan Ju. As for how far they can go, it has nothing to do with me. Now, there are not only Xiaoting and members of Xuetu but also Shangguan Weiyuan in the Void Tower. Su Yang calmed down and tried to sense the location of Lu Wanyan's 10 people, but found nothing. He only knew that they were still alive, what their strength was, and where they were. That's good. After hearing Su Yang's words, Xiaoting felt relieved. Su Yang suppressed his smile and said, no matter how much noise is made, the Void Tower will not be damaged at all. Well, you can practice. I just returned to Jiangbei and there are still many things to do. This is really Grandma getting under the covers and making me laugh. Don't worry, just do whatever you want. Su Yang also calmed down and entered the Void Tower. Now that the riverside villa has been destroyed and turned into ruins, where did Lu Wanyan and the 10 people go? Is there anything going on? Su Yang shook his head with a wry smile, turned to look at Xiaoting, and said, you led the team out. I guess you don't know what happened in Jiangbei. Well, let's enter the Void Tower. It's only comparable to the Peak of Dan formation. Even if you use the combined attack technique, it's only comparable to the Peak of Nascent Soul. Subsequently, after Xiaoting and others were settled, there was no one else in the Su family manor, so Su Yang planned to leave to meet an extremely important person. This little tower of yours is so precious, what if we accidentally break it, Xiaoting said worriedly. The 49 members of the Blood Massacre and Xiaoting were all at a loss as they looked at everything around them curiously. The spiritual energy in the Void Tower is almost the same as that in the Xiantian Immortal Domain. Although it is not as good as the Cave Heaven Paradise, it is not bad. Even if the spiritual energy of the earth is revived, it may not be comparable to the spiritual energy in the Void Tower. At this moment. Don't look, you are in the Void Tower now. There is more spiritual energy here than outside. Su Yang appeared and smiled softly. Although you practice the Qinglong body training technique, the spiritual energy will not have much effect on you, but it is beneficial and harmless. After Su Yang left a sentence, he withdrew his mind and couldn't help but sigh. It would be good to set foot on nascent soul and open the Void Tower. Yes, thank you master. Shangguan Wuyuan was practicing, so Su Yang didn't let Xiaoting and the others meet. He used his mind to divide two spaces in the Void Tower so that they wouldn't disturb each other this time. Xiaoting, as the representative, responded respectfully, and then asked with some embarrassment, Master, our current strength is very strong. If we use the Fulong combination attack technique, we will be even stronger. With such strength, you dare to say that you are afraid of breaking the Void Tower? You can stay here for a day or two. If you encounter good blood essence, I will bring it in to help you break through. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 754. Ever since Su Yang left Jiangbei and went to Wudane Mountain to participate in the 100 sex martial arts competition, he had never seen Li Feixuan again. Calculating carefully, it has been half a year. Now that he is back in Jiangbei, Su Yang naturally wants to meet Li Feixuan and see how his wife is doing. At this moment, Li Family Manor. Li Feixuan was practicing in her room, sitting cross-legged and looking very serious. Wisps of true energy were flowing around her body, and the power was not weak at all. Half a year ago, Su Yang gave Li Feixuan one of the gift spots after the ancient martial arts reform was successful, allowing her to reach the sky in an instant and step into the realm of martial master. But Li Feixuan didn't know that Su Yang was responsible for her becoming stronger. He only knew that he had become very powerful inexplicably. In order to attract attention, Li Feixuan did not reveal her strength to the outside world. No one in Jiangbei knew that she had become an ancient warrior. In the past 6 months, Li Feixuan, who had hidden her strength, had done a lot of good things in Jiangbei and left a resounding name. About 5 months ago, Li Feixuan was already an ancient warrior in the martial master realm. It's just that she has always been weak in character and has not adapted to the fact that she is a martial arts master. That day, Li Feixuan took her sister Li Kekai to eat barbecue on the roadside as usual. Although she and Li Kekai are rich girls, barbecue is naturally delicious on the roadside. Just like that, the sisters sat on the roadside and enjoyed the barbecue quietly. But suddenly, screams came from the barbecue restaurant, and then 2 men grabbed a woman by her hair and forcibly dragged her out of the barbecue restaurant. During the process of dragging her out, the 2 men also used beer bottles to smash the dragged woman in the face. They smashed about 4 or 5 beer bottles. Glass shards were scattered on the ground, and the woman's face was bleeding. She was very miserable, and she was wailing in pain. But the 2 men did not stop beating the woman. After dragging her outside, they threw her to the ground, and then punched and kicked her again. Not only that. The 2 men had other companions, a total of 6 or 7 of them, all of whom were big, muscular men. They swarmed over her without any pity. The woman who fell on the ground seemed to be a sandbag in their eyes, and they ravaged her non-stop. The scene instantly became chaotic, and many people were talking. Through everyone's discussion, Li Feixuan knew the whole story. Turn out to be. The 2 men who beat her at the beginning asked the woman who was beaten for her contact information in the barbecue shop. The woman didn't give it, so the man started to harass her and even touched her face. The woman was so angry that she slapped the man, which completely angered the man. Therefore, two men committed violence against a woman in a barbecue restaurant, and then dragged her out and beat her violently, with heavy blows and punches. The woman's face was covered with blood after being beaten, she fell to the ground, and her body twitched from time to time. But the 6 or 7 men still did not let the woman go and wanted to drag her into the alley. Looking at the situation, the fool also knew what their intentions were, and they must be planning to do bad things to the woman in turn. Then, a young man in his 20s stood up at the scene and stopped him, wanting to save the beaten woman. Many people nearby also spoke up, condemning the 6 or 7 men, and even said that they had called the police. But the perpetrators didn't take this into consideration at all. 2 of them came over, grabbed the young man who spoke first and beat him. The young man wore glasses, was thin and frail, and looked gentle. He was probably still in college. He had never seen such a situation before, and he was no match for the 2 strong men. He didn't even have the strength to fight back, and was directly knocked down by the 2 strong men, who kicked him randomly. The last 2 strong men spat at him a few more times before letting him go. However, Li Feixuan did not want to reveal her identity and attract attention, so as not to get into trouble. Li Feixuan excused herself to go to the toilet. In the toilet, she pulled off a corner of her white skirt and covered her face. She also fished for law enforcement, deliberately bringing Li Kekai, or her best friends Zhang Yuge, Hua Qingde, and took them to have barbecues, go to karaoke, wherever there was chaos. Li Feixuan was furious, her beautiful face was clouded, and the barbecue iron skewer in her hand was bent directly by her. Therefore, everyone gave her a nickname, Jiangbei Fairy. Some people thought Jiangbei Fairy was unpleasant and called her Little Fairy. When her sister and best friend were bullied, the first thing Li Feixuan had to do was to go to the toilet, and then the little fairy came on the stage and killed everyone, beating the shit out of the bad guys. Wearing a long white dress, she flew through the air. The bright moon and stars became her background. They were beautiful and elegant, making her look like a fairy from the sky. The result was no exception. Li Feixuan intercepted the 5 or 6 people at the entrance of the alley, released only a trace of power, and beat the heads of the perpetrators to death. She knelt down to beg for mercy and successfully rescued the dragged person. Okay, woman. After severely punishing the perpetrators, Li Feixuan rose into the air and left the scene. Some people even took photos and videos and uploaded them online, causing an uproar. Slowly, the hooligans got rid of this bad habit. After all, they couldn't analyze it and didn't dare to gamble. But gradually, she couldn't find any more, so she began to actively look for injustice. She would run down the street every now and then to see if anyone was looking for trouble. Over time, a few words spread widely in Jiangbei. In the beginning, Li Feixuan only stepped in to take care of her when she encountered him. This scene was seen by the people in front of the barbecue stall in the distance. They were immediately shocked and all looked at him with admiration. These 5 or 6 strong men were relatively big, with tattoos on their arms and bodies, and they looked fierce. Also, she is not interested in Jiangbei fairies, and thinks little fairies sound better. Huaqiang is nothing. The powerful monster Barrier can only be the pet of a little fairy when he comes to Jiangbei. Therefore, Li Feixuan naturally saw the videos and photos on the internet, and felt very satisfied. It turned out that helping others was such a joy. She felt that with her current strength, she could definitely teach those 5 or 6 strong men a lesson, so she wanted to step forward. The crowd at the scene were all ordinary people. Seeing the young man who spoke out for justice being beaten so badly, how could anyone dare to speak again? Li Feixuan covered her face with the fabric of her white skirt, and then jumped out. Immediately afterwards. That day, it was night, the bright moon was in the sky, and the sky was full of stars. Especially before trying to tease a pretty girl, the hooligan must first carefully analyze and study whether this is a fairy fishing for law enforcement. Just like that, everyone fell silent. Both beautiful and fairy, the key is, punishing evil and promoting good. This is not a fairy, what is it? Since the little fairy was born, the public security in Jiangbei has become much better now. Those little hooligans must think carefully before doing bad things. As far as I know, the day Thanos came to Jiangbei, his hand was chopped off by the little fairy, and he had no chance to snap his fingers. Since then, Li Feixuan has been obsessed with her second identity. When she saw injustice on the road, she immediately turned on the little fairy vest to punish evil and promote good, and promote positive energy. Even with the little fairy here, we are so safe in Jiangbei. When Huaqiang comes, he doesn't even dare to ask the boss whether the melons will be kept cooked. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 755. At this moment, the little fairy Li Feixuan, who had an explosive reputation outside, ended her cultivation state, and the wandering true energy gradually returned to her body. I'm so strong now. I feel like I can tear the air apart by raising my hand. Li Feixuan raised her hand and put it in front of her eyes, looked at her hand, and showed a proud smile. If Su Yang knew that I am so strong now, what would his expression be like? He would definitely find it incredible. I haven't seen him for half a year. I don't know how Su Yang is doing now. Is he still in seclusion? Li Feixuan and Su Shenbing Sukinkan are actually related. The last time they communicated, they told Li Feixuan that Su Yang was retreating in Kunlun Mountain. However, in the past month or so, Li Feixuan has not contacted them. Instead, she has devoted herself to cultivation, occasionally going out to punish evil and promote good. I haven't gone out for 3 days. I don't know if the nights in Jiangbei are still chaotic. Li Feixuan looked at the time and murmured to herself, why is it morning now? Forget it, let's practice for a while. In the evening, we will have an appointment with Kikai Kingday and Gege. The 4 of us went out together. I found that when they go out to play together, the probability of encountering violent people is particularly high. Especially when Kingday wears black stockings, bad guys all appear together. Li Feixuan murmured to herself for a while, then closed her eyes slightly and was about to retreat. But at this moment, Su Yang appeared, standing alone outside the door of the Li family manor. This time he came to Li's manor to meet his wife. Naturally, Su Yang didn't want Su King Ai to be a light bulb. Then, when Su Yang arrived, Su Yang let Su King Ai enter the Void Tower to practice, and also served as a sparring partner for the Blood Slaughter members. Of course, it's just one-on-one sparring. If the 49 members of the Blood Slaughter were to perform the Fulong combination attack technique, Su King Ai would be no match at all. Su Yang. Li Feixuan opened her eyes instantly, with strong joy in her eyes. You are finally back, Su Yang. I have been waiting for you for half a year, and you are finally here. The moment she noticed Su Yang's aura, Li Feixuan was extremely excited and hurriedly walked out of the bed. Haha, Su Yang, you must not know that I have already discovered you. Li Feixuan murmured happily to herself, then muttered, don't you like acting? You are obviously very good, but you still pretend to be a playboy. Now I have to act and hide my strength. When my strength is about the same, I will expose it and scare you to death. With this in mind, Li Feixuan adjusted her white dress, controlled her breath very well, and then walked out of the room. At this moment, Su Yang has been brought to the living room by the servants of the Li family manor. After that, the servants went to inform Li Chunfeng and Li Kuowu. Su Yang sat on the sofa with a playful smile on his lips. With his current state, his spiritual consciousness was extremely powerful. As soon as he entered the Li family manor, he began to search for Li Feixuan's location. Not surprisingly, Su Yang found it and heard clearly what Li Feixuan was talking to herself. And although Li Feixuan deliberately hid it, Su Yang still sensed Li Feixuan's state. Martial Lord, peak. It's only been half a year, and Li Feixuan has reached the peak of martial arts without any foundation. This is really incredible. At the beginning, I gave my wife a place and gave her a gift to help her reach the sky and become a martial lord. Su Yang couldn't help but thought to himself, but before, she was just an ordinary person. In just half a year, she actually advanced one after another and became the pinnacle of martial arts. This is a bit incredible. That time, there were 10 spots in total. Su Yang observed yesterday that among the ancient warriors, only Shi Hehan had stepped into the half-step martial saint. Like Shi Jushan, he also accepted the gift. He even accumulated ancient martial arts before, but now he is only in the late stage of martial arts. But Li Feixuan made sentences behind closed doors, hiding her strength, and secretly reached the peak of martial arts. Such talent is simply terrifying, and she must be the first person in ancient martial arts. If concubine Li is given time, it may take as little as 3 years or as many as 5 years before she can step into the realm of martial saint. Within 10 years, she may even have a chance to achieve the title of martial god. For practitioners, whether it is an ancient martial arts system or a cultivation system, talent is crucial. A person with extraordinary talent can make greater progress by practicing for 1 minute than a person with ordinary talent who can practice for a year. There is no doubt that Li Feixuan is an extremely talented person. Haha, wife, you are very revengeful, and you want to hide your strength with me. Su Yang smiled, and then said to himself, okay, then I will cooperate with you and play with you. With this in mind, Su Yang pretended not to know anything and sat quietly on the sofa. After a while, Li Feixuan came outside the living room, but she hid her breath and did not show up. Hey, Su Yang, you still don't know that I'm hiding in the dark and watching you. A smile appeared on Li Feixuan's lips, and she murmured in a low voice, you guy, I haven't seen you for half a year, but you look a little more handsome. Su Yang saw all this, but didn't point it out. Soon, Li Chunfeng and Li Kuowu walked into the living room in a hurry. Haha, Su Yang, you didn't say anything before you came, so I was not prepared at all. Li Chunfeng greeted Su Yang excitedly. Grandpa Li. Su Yang smiled softly, and then said, I just came back to Jiangbei and wanted to see concubine Xian. Where has she been? Is she at home? At home, at home. Li Chunfeng smiled attentively and said, don't worry. I've been very strict with you during the 6 months since you were gone. Concubine Xian usually doesn't even have the chance to interact with boys. Don't worry about her doing anything wrong to you. Li Feixuan, who was hiding in the dark, suddenly felt black when she heard this and couldn't help but roll her eyes at her grandfather. Grandpa, Grandpa, why are you talking about this? In your heart, am I the kind of person who doesn't follow the rules of women? Grandpa Li, I believe Fei Xian, she is not that kind of person. Even if the top chick takes off her clothes on the TV, she will not be tempted. Su Yang said seriously, if you say this again and question concubine Xian's character, I will be angry. Concubine Li in the dark suddenly raised the corners of her mouth when she heard the words, and looked at Su Yang with eyes full of love. Haha! This is the man for me, Li Feixuan. He understands me, Su Yang. I really didn't entrust the wrong person. Ha ha ha, Su Yang, I'm joking with you. It's just a casual comment. Don't take it seriously. Li Chunfeng said quickly, he was a little confused. This is so normal. Is Su Yang so serious? Grandpa Li, please let Fei Xian come out quickly. I haven't seen her for half a year. I miss her so much. I miss her so much that I feel panicked, Su Yang said anxiously. This time. Before Li Chunfeng spoke, Li Feixuan stopped hiding and strode in, saying as he walked. Su Yang, thinking about me makes me panic. Is what you said true? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 756. Li Feixuan came out. Hearing the sound, Su Yang moved his eyes and looked over, pretending to be surprised and said, "Hey, wife, when did you come? Why didn't I notice it? I've been here for a long time." Li Feixuan's tone was calm, but there was a hint of arrogance in her eyes, as if to say, "Hey, you didn't notice me." Immediately afterwards, Li Feixuan looked at Su Yang and asked again, "Come on, do you really want me to panic?" "Of course it's true." Su Yang said seriously, "Honey, I can swear that in the past 6 months, without you by my side, my life has been like a year. Even eating delicacies from the mountains and the sea doesn't taste good anymore." "Tch, you're so glib, I don't believe it." Concubine Li gave Su Yang a blank look and said she didn't believe it, but her face turned slightly red. "Real?" Su Yang came over, took Li Feixuan's hand, and smiled softly, "Honey, stop talking about me, do you miss me?" "I didn't," Concubine Li declared uncontrollably. "Lying, I can tell you are lying at a glance." Su Yang curled his lips, and then suddenly said curiously, "By the way, wife, what happened just now? Why didn't I notice you were outside? This is impossible. You are just an ordinary person. With my perception, you can definitely found yours. That's because you hide your strength, so others can't find it?" Li Feixuan felt funny in her heart, but did not show it. Instead, she explained casually, "Maybe you didn't pay attention." "I see." Su Yang nodded, cooperated with Li Feixuan's acting, and then said, "Honey, do you want to practice? I just have time recently and can teach you and turn you into a powerful ancient warrior." "Haha, that's a good idea." Before Li Feixuan opened her mouth, Li Kuo next to him smiled happily and said, "Feixuan, Su Yang is very powerful now. You will practice with him in the future. The future of the Li family depends on you." "I do not want." Li Feixuan directly refused and said repulsively, "There is nothing wrong with practicing. It is very tiring, and it is not ladylike at all. I don't like it. I want to be a gentle and elegant girl, and I don't want to use swords or guns." Although she said this, Li Feixuan was happy in her heart. Hey. Su Yang, you can't even find me, your strength is definitely not as good as mine, you teach me how to practice? Don't be ridiculous, I'm not going to teach you much." Li Feixuan felt particularly arrogant and found it particularly interesting to hide her strength. "You girl, you are confused. I only have 2 granddaughters, you and Kikai. Kikai only knows how to play and cannot be reused. If you don't stand up, who will carry the banner of the Li family?" Li Chunfeng also wanted Li Feixuan to learn martial arts, so he persuaded her, "Feixuan, listen to grandpa and learn more from Su Yang." Li Feixuan almost went crazy with joy when she looked at the expressions of her grandfather and father. She couldn't help but imagine what their expressions would look like after they knew that she was very strong. It must be very exciting. No wonder Su Yang hid his strength before, this feeling is really, so refreshing. "I'm awesome, I know I'm awesome, but others don't know, ha ha ha. Grandpa Li, I just mentioned it casually. Since Fei Xian doesn't want to learn, then forget it." Su Yang smiled and said, "Even if she doesn't know martial arts, I can keep her safe and sound for the rest of her life, and the Li family will not decline." "Haha, okay, you are indeed my good grandson-in-law," Li Chunfeng stroked his beard with satisfaction after hearing this. Naturally, Li Kuo couldn't persuade Li Feixuan anymore, but said, Su Yang, you and Fixuan haven't seen each other for half a year. Take her out to play. The two of us will no longer be light bulbs. Okay. Su Yang agreed with a smile, and after saying goodbye to Li Chunfeng and Li Kuowu, he took Li Fixuan out of the living room. Watching the two people leave, Li Chunfeng smiled softly and said, "This boy Su Yang and Fei Xian are a perfect match. They are a match made in heaven." "Father." Li Kuowu nodded, then turned to smile bitterly and said, "Su Yang is even more unfathomable now. Half a year ago, he started the reform of ancient martial arts in Wudane Mountain, and then went to Kunlun Mountain for retreat. Half a year later, when he came out of seclusion, the first thing he did was go to Jufeng Mountain and did something earth-shattering." "Oh." Li Chunfeng asked doubtfully, "I have heard about Wudane Mountain. I have been in retreat recently. What big things did Su Yang do? You must also know that 10 experts from outside the territory came to Earth. They cleared almost all the famous mountains, and finally set their sights on Jufeng Mountain." Li Kuowu complained, "As for Jufeng Mountain, there is Wu Qingying, the best master of ancient martial arts, but unfortunately, she could only block one master of ancient martial arts, but a total of 4 people went to Jufeng Mountain at that time. Everyone thinks that Jufeng Mountain will inevitably fall into the hands of outsiders." When Li Kuowu said this, he became excited and changed his tone, but at the critical moment, Su Yang appeared, killing everyone and sweeping outside the territory. Those foreign masters died and fled, and their entire army was almost destroyed. Li Kuowu said excitedly, "Su Yang successfully defended Jufeng Mountain and defeated the arrogance of the outside masters. Now, whether they are ancient warriors or the top 10 ancient tribes, they must obey Su Yang's orders. He is the well-deserved number 1 in the world." "Haha, okay, okay, okay." Li Chunfeng stroked his beard and said happily, "It is a great honor for the Li family to have such a powerful son-in-law." "Really?" Li Chunfeng nodded, and then said with a wry smile, "So I think it is a bit high for Fei Xian to marry Su Yang. It is our Li family who has taken a big advantage." "So what?" Li Chunfeng didn't feel embarrassed at all, but said shamelessly, "Others want to reach higher, but they still can't." "That makes sense." Hearing this, Li Kuowu nodded, and then said, "It's just that, Father, I will be kind to Su Yang from now on. Hold on to this big tree tightly, and don't let him run away." "I am very sure of that." Li Chunfeng continued, "Last time I gave Su Yang 10 stunning beauties, and he accepted them. This kid is a bit lustful. Kuowu, take some time to go to the Western Ulan Kingdom and look for a dozen exotic beauties. Su Yang must like them very much." Li Chunfeng smiled and said, "Anyway, this kid is a playboy. Let's find more stunning women and treat them as dowries for concubine Xian." "This, okay, I'll make arrangements right away." Li Kuowu felt that it was not appropriate, as there was no way to marry a stunning woman, but after thinking carefully he agreed. Only by doing what he likes can you please Su Yang. The other side. As soon as Su Yang and Li Fixuan walked out of the Li family manor, they met Zhang Yuge walking towards them. It is worth mentioning that Zhang Yuge no longer has short hair. She has grown her hair long in the past 6 months. Today, Zhang Yuge wore off-white 9-point pants, and his upper body was a light-colored knitted short-sleeved shirt. This outfit makes her legs look particularly long and her figure is slim and graceful. Coupled with her beautiful face, she looks very feminine. However, Zhang Yuge was particularly panicked at this moment. When he saw Li Fixuan, he ran over as if he had seen a savior. Chapter 2. "Fixuan, there is a pervert chasing me. I'm scared to death. Call your bodyguard quickly." After Zhang Yuge ran over, he saw Su Yang holding Li Fixuan's arm and glanced at Su Yang. Then, she pushed Su Yang away, hugged Li Fixuan's arm, and lay on Li Fixuan's shoulder in fear. "What the hell?" Su Yang was unhappy and was about to pull Zhang Yuge away, but was stopped by Li Feixuan's look. After thinking about it carefully, Zhang Yuj was a woman, so let her hug Li Feixuan. There would be no loss anyway, so Su Yang gave up the idea of taking action. Song. It's okay. You don't have to be afraid when you come to my house. I'm here and no one can touch you. As Li Feixuan spoke, she realized that she was too arrogant to say this. Will others know about her martial arts? So, Li Feixuan added, I mean, Su Yang will protect us, he is very powerful. Ye Zhang Yuj's nervousness eased after hearing this. Gag, what's going on? What kind of perversion is this? Li Feixuan asked. Is such that? Zhang Yuj calmed down and then said, don't I live nearby? I went to the supermarket to buy things just now. Who knew I met a man? He was like a lunatic. He smiled from ear to ear when he saw me. He came up and asked me hug me. Of course I wouldn't spoil him, so I slapped him with my hand. Not only was he not angry, he even said that the feeling was too familiar. He said that I had hit him since he was a child, and even asked me to hit him a few more times to help him. He reminisced about his childhood. Zhang Yuj gritted his teeth and said, Feixuan, tell me, how can there be such a person in the world? He is a complete pervert. I was so frightened that I ran out of the supermarket without buying anything, but he kept chasing me, calling me sister while chasing me. Zhang Yuj said with disgust on his face, that guy is a big guy, at least 1.9 meters tall. He has an unshaven beard and a face full of vicissitudes of life. He is probably in his 50s. He still calls me sister. Damn, why are you pretending to be young? I think he is a pervert, a psychopath. I don't dare to stop for a moment. Zhang Yuj continued, it's definitely too late to call the police. It happens that the supermarket is relatively close to your home. I thought that your home has bodyguards, and Grandpa Li and Uncle Li are also masters of ancient martial arts, so I ran over to ask for your help. Feixuan, don't be stunned. Go call your bodyguard. You must take care of that pervert today and show him some color. Zhang Yuj gritted his teeth and said fiercely. There are still people like this. If they are mentally ill, they go to the doctor. If they fail in the exam, they go to a mental hospital. What are they doing here to scare people? Li Feixuan was also angry, and asked with concern, Gag, he didn't hurt you, right? That's not true. He hugged me, but I pushed him away and even slapped him. It's not a loss. Zhang Yuj continued, but he keeps chasing me, Feixuan, I can't let him go. It's good that I didn't suffer any loss. After getting angry, Li Feixuan began to comfort Zhang Yuj, Gag, calm down, think about it carefully, that person has a problem in his heart, he is a patient, and he must be merciful and merciful. If he is healthy and dares to do such a thing, then we will definitely not let him go. But according to what you said, in his situation, we will not compete with a mentally ill person, concubine Li said with a smile. She has always been kind. The person who complained just now only took care of Zhang Yuj's mood and decisively united the front with his best friend. You have a point. Zhang Yuj thought for a while and then said, it's wrong to compete with mental illness. It lowers my status. Li Feixuan and Zhang Yuj meet often and have a very good relationship. They talk and laugh when walking. Abnormal. Su Yang, what's your attitude? Zhang Yuj was obviously unhappy with Su Yang, and then said, Su Yang, go ahead and get busy. Concubine Xian wants to go shopping with me later. You are a grown man and it is not appropriate to follow us. Li Feixuan smoothed her hair in front of her forehead, smiled and said, Gag, let's go shopping, and I'll treat you to milk tea. Zhang Yuj gritted his teeth and was about to continue to condemn Su Yang. We are going shopping, and we will definitely buy some clothes and shoes. Let Su Yang follow us. He will just help us carry our bags, concubine Li said with a smile. In this way, Su Yang followed Li Feichuan and Zhang Yuge and left the Li family manor. At this time, Zhang Yuge hugged Li Feichuan's arm tightly and pointed anxiously at a burly figure in front of him. "Damn it! I've provoked you, but why do you bother me so much?" This man, whom Zhang Yuge regarded as a pervert, looked to be in his 20s or 30s, tall and burly, with a strong physique. Su Yang met Zhang Yuge's gaze and said calmly, "Why should I listen to you? That pervert is here again." "Uh-huh. He. At this time, Li Feichuan stepped forward to smooth things over. "Gag, okay, don't be angry." However, after a minute or two, the smile on Zhang Yuge's face suddenly stopped, and he screamed in fright. "It was you who made the unpleasant remarks first," Su Yang said calmly. Zhang Yuge suddenly became happy when he heard this. He looked at Su Yang provocatively and said with a smile, "Su Yang, do you hear that? Just carry your bag later. Don't talk or get close to me. I'll see. It makes you feel uncomfortable." Zhang Yuge nodded, turned to look at Su Yang, and said with disgust, "Feichuan, didn't he leave Jiangbei? When did he come back? It is worth mentioning that this burly man is very strange. He carries an ancient animal skin drum on his shoulders, and he is out of tune with the people around him." "Oh. Forget it, for the sake of my wife, I won't be as knowledgeable as you. I just returned to Jiangbei today, and I finally met Fei Xian. We are not tired of it yet, so I will leave if you ask me to leave. This bitch is so arrogant." He was very excited at the moment, looking at Zhang Yuge with excitement on his face. The happiness in his eyes was indescribable, and his hands were trembling. "I don't." "Good idea." Zhang Yuge gritted his teeth and said, "I am Fei Xian's best friend. Why are you talking to me so harshly?" Su Yang was a little depressed, but when Li Feichuan turned around and smiled to comfort herself, Su Yang's mood immediately improved. "Today, concubine," Li replied with a smile. "Haha, yes, that's good if you think about it that way." After saying that, Zhang Yuge took Li Feichuan's arm and walked towards the 2 o'clock direction. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 757. Li Feichuan and Zhang Yuge were frightened when they saw the man carrying the animal skin drum. Even though Li Feichuan was now a master of ancient martial arts, her first reaction was one of fear. After all, she has reached the sky in one step. She has only been in Wuzhen for half a year, so it is difficult to change her conditioned reflex. As for Zhang Yuge, he was even more frightened. He had been scared by this man before and ran away for several miles. Her face turned pale now and she was hiding behind Li Feichuan. It could be seen that she was really scared. But after Su Yang saw the person clearly, he smiled. Because the man with the animal skin drum is none other than Zhang Megu. It has been half a year since we last said goodbye, and I didn't expect Zhang Megu to still be in Jiangbei. After recognizing Zhang Megu, Su Yang did not step forward, but continued to stand behind Li Feichuan and Zhang Yuge, wanting to teach Zhang Yuge a lesson. Isn't she afraid of Zhang Megu? Then let Zhang Megu scare her and see if she still dares to be so arrogant. You, why are you chasing me again? Get away, don't come close to me, otherwise I'll call the police." At this time, Zhang Yuge said nervously. "Elder sister." Zhang Megu put the big animal skin drum on the ground with a bang, looked at Zhang Yuge, and said excitedly, "I am Megu, your biological brother, don't you recognize me anymore? Who is your sister? Don't scream. You don't even know how old you are. You are a little old man, but you still have the nerve to call me sister. Am I that old?" Zhang Yuge was frightened and stubbornly emphasized, "A man of your age can be my uncle, so why are you pretending to be young?" "Bah, no, you are not my uncle. I have nothing to do with you. Leave quickly and don't force me to call the police," Zhang Yuge threatened again. "Sister, I am only 26 years old this year. Let me do the math for you. Jang Magu pondered for a moment, and then said, you are 29 years old, sister. I am really your brother, and you are my sister. 29. Jang Yuj seemed to care about his age. He gritted his teeth and said, 29 is already 3 years old. You are only 29, and I am obviously only 21. Sister, let's talk about age when we get home. Father and Grandpa will tell you. Jang Magu stepped forward and said, you don't recognize me now. Your brain must have been damaged by the Ximen tiger roar. Come with me, sister. I will take you back to Fenyang to see a doctor. You pervert, get out of here, who wants to follow you home? Jang Yuj took half a step back in fear. Sister, your situation is more serious now. I had to take you home by force. I offended you. After saying that, Jang Magu stepped forward and directly carried Jang Yuj on his shoulders. You're a pervert. I don't even know you. Put me down quickly, Feixuan, help me. Jang Yuj was so frightened that he almost burst into tears. While crying, he slapped Jang Magu's body. But Jang Magu didn't care, he carried his sister and left. Stop. Li Feixuan has calmed down. She is a powerful ancient martial arts master and there is no need to be afraid. Then she mustered up her courage and gritted her teeth and said, put her down, otherwise don't blame me for being rude. I don't hit women. Jang Magu glanced at Li Feixuan, then kept walking, preparing to leave here. Snort. Su Yang could clearly see the panic and fear in her expression, and felt that the punishment was enough. Sister, don't be afraid. I won't hurt you. You will know everything when you get home. Seeing this, Jang Magu smiled bitterly. His sister no longer recognized him, which made him feel very uncomfortable. Brother Mugu. Jang Magu stopped and turned around to see Su Yang. His expression brightened instantly and he said excitedly, young Master Su, it's really you. When did you come? Therefore. Ignorant of good and evil. Li Feixuan secretly said, Su Yang can also do martial arts. Although he is not as good as me, he is not weak either. Ah, you're such a pervert, no, 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 uncle, please let me go, I'm really not your sister, woo woo woo. Jang Yuj broke down emotionally and burst into tears. Jang Yuj's body was lying on Jang Magu's shoulders, and his face was facing Su Yang. Su Yang pointed at Jang Yuj, then smiled softly and said, put your sister down, keep carrying her, she will be very uncomfortable. No need to explain, I understand. Since Jang Magu appeared, all his thoughts were on Jang Yuj, and he naturally ignored the other people present. It's so fun to hide my strength, I always feel secretly happy. I haven't had enough fun yet. It's better to let Su Yang take action first. When he can't beat me, I will step in. When he sees my strength, he will definitely be surprised and even feel ashamed, ha ha ha. At this time, Su Yang stepped forward and asked, Brother Mugu, what happened in the past 6 months? Why are you in Jiangbei, so unkempt, a good young guy, and acting like an old man in his 60s or 70s? But at this moment, she suddenly thought that Su Yang was still behind her. If she used her true energy, wouldn't she reveal her strength? But then, Jang Magu actually heard Su Yang's voice. When he looked back, he saw that it was really Su Yang. Naturally, he was extremely surprised. Jang Yuj, who was carried on Jang Magu's shoulders, also thought of Su Yang, and then hurriedly said, Su Yang, I was wrong, I shouldn't have talked to you like that just now, please help me, please. Jang Magu put down the big animal skin drum, scratched the back of his head with his free hand, and said awkwardly, I'm sorry, Mr. Su, I saw my sister and I was so excited, so. After thinking about this, Li Feixuan couldn't help but smile, and then said, Su Yang, please save Gege quickly, we can't let him be taken away by this pervert. Just now, he heard Li Feixuan and Zhang Yuge call out Su Yang's name, thinking it was just a coincidence that they had the same name. After all, young Master Su is retreating in Kunlun Mountain, so it is impossible to appear here. Then, Su Yang smiled softly and said, Zhang Magu, that's it? Stop. Don't scare your sister. At this moment, hearing Su Yang's words, Zhang Magu reacted, hurriedly put Zhang Yuge down, and whispered, Sister, I'm sorry, I was too reckless just now. After speaking, Zhang Magu walked to the side of the animal skin drum, kicked the animal skin drum into the air with his feet, then accurately clamped the animal skin drum with his arms, and planned to walk away. Su Yang said, originally, I didn't plan to take care of this matter, but for the sake of my wife, and your attitude of begging me is not bad, forget it, I will help you just once. After Zhang Yuge stood firm, he glanced at Zhang Magu, then ran away in a hurry and hid behind Li Feixuan. Seeing this, concubine Li couldn't bear it any longer. She immediately gathered her true energy and taught Zhang Magu a lesson. Haha, I've been standing here since the beginning, brother Mugu, you didn't even look at me, Su Yang said with a smile. Zhang Magu said softly, when the time comes, if you want to hit me, hit me. I will definitely not fight back. Who makes you my sister? Ahem, I. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 758. Hey, it's a long story. Zhang Magu sighed, and then said, half a year ago, after you left Wudane Mountain, I came to Jiangbei with brother Fuegui. Fenyang City and Jiangbei are two completely different environments. I want to experience the customs of Jiangbei and taste the snacks here. Zhang Magu continued, however, on the third day after arriving in Jiangbei, Jiangbei held a talent show called Jiangbei Good Voice. Brother Fuegui and I got excited immediately when we heard the news. Isn't this specially prepared for us? With my drumming and brother Fuegui's suana, if I participate in Jiangbei Good Voice, wouldn't it be easy to win the championship? Zhang Magu continued, so, brother Fuegui and I prepared for several days, practicing until late at night every day, and before we knew it, it was the day when the selection started. I carried the animal skin drum, and brother Fuegui held the suana. The two of us participated in Jiangbei Good Voice with full confidence, and the result. At this point, Zhang Magu paused, slightly embarrassed. Seeing this, Su Yang couldn't help but guess, you were eliminated in the audition. Zhang Magu asked in surprise, young Master Su, the probability of our elimination is so small, how did you guess it? Probably, low probability. Bro, are you serious? One of you plays the drum and the other plays the suana. Neither of you have normal sounds. Isn't it expected that you would be eliminated? If you are not eliminated, then Jiangbei Good Voice should have the inside story. Su Yang looked at Zhang Magu's serious look, and finally couldn't help but tell the truth. Instead, he said, Brother Magu, this is not the point. What happens next? Continue talking. Good. Zhang Magu nodded and said, after we were eliminated, within a few days, someone from Kunlun Mountain came to Jiangbei. They wanted to pick up brother Fuegui and me to practice together in Kunlun Mountain. Brother Fuegui is here. After thinking about it for a while, I didn't agree. Zhang Magu said, you gave me a gift quota at the beginning. I practice the ancient martial arts system with great success. In addition, I come from the Zhang family in Fenyang City and have training resources. It doesn't mean much whether I go to Kunlun Mountain or not. After brother Fuegui left, I did not leave Jiangbei. Instead, I found a place to start practicing and occasionally come out to taste Jiangbei's delicacies. Speaking of the gift quota, Zhang Magu said gratefully, young Master Su, I must thank you for giving me this opportunity, otherwise I would definitely not be able to achieve what I am now. Haha, brother Magoo, you're welcome. You have good talent, so you deserve this spot. Su Yang smiled and said, but, brother Magoo, we are practicing cultivation, you should shave your beard and dress yourself up, you are like a little old man, and you hug Zhang Yuj directly when you see him, can people not think you are a pervert? That makes sense. I'll take some time to tidy myself up. Zhang Magoo was slightly embarrassed, then glanced at Zhang Yuj, and then said, young Master Su, she is really my sister Zhang Qingshui, it's not that she looks similar, it's just that she has lost her memory now and can't recognize me. Are you sure? Su Yang was thinking about this issue just now, whether he had admitted the wrong person. Sure. Zhang Magoo said firmly, my sister has a small freckle on her right eyebrow. You can't find it without looking carefully. I just observed carefully that she also has freckles on her right eyebrow, just like my sister. Zhang Magoo continued, in this world, there may be people with similar looks, but it is impossible that even the freckles will be in the same place, so I am sure she is my sister Zhang Qingshui. I see. Su Yang nodded. It seemed that Zhang Magoo's judgment was correct. Zhang Yuj was indeed his biological sister. Okay. At this time, Zhang Yuj reacted, pointed at Su Yang's nose, and said accusingly, Su Yang, it turns out you know this pervert. Huh, sure enough, everyone knows who, and perverts know scum. You two still don't know each other, it's really worthy of the idiom of friends with friends. Wait a minute, I understand, Su Yang, you can do it, tell me honestly, did you deliberately arrange this pervert, just to disgust me? Zhang Yuj said angrily, I have no grievances with you. Didn't I just say that you were a dandy and a scumbag last time we met? It is necessary for you to set up a trap against. As Zhang Yuj was speaking, Su Yang took action. He raised his hand slightly, and spiritual energy penetrated into her body. The next moment, Zhang Yuj's voice stopped suddenly, and he instantly fell into a coma, his body so limp that he was about to fall down. Seeing this, Zhang Magoo strode forward, supported Zhang Yuj, and held his sister in his arms. It's so noisy. I can't stop talking. Su Yang took out his ears, and then said, Brother Magoo, I will let your sister sleep for a while, and then wake her up after figuring out the whole story. Don't worry, my aura will be beneficial to her. Well, okay, I can rest assured that young Master Su is doing things, Zhang Magoo said with a smile. Actually, I wanted to knock her out just now, but I didn't dare. I was afraid that she would beat me up after she regained her memory. Haha, you don't have to worry now, I did it for you, Su Yang smiled heartily. Su Yang, what's going on? At this time, Li Feixuan next to her asked in confusion. Wife. Su Yang looked at Li Feixuan, and then told Li Feixuan the whole story. Zhang Yuj is not from Jiangbei, nor does he come from the Zhang family in Jiangbei. Is this person really her biological brother? After Li Feixuan understood it, she thought about it carefully and said, listening to what you said, I think Gage's life experience is indeed strange. I only got to know her in the past 2 years. She was not in Jiangbei before. I heard from Uncle Zhang that Gage has been living abroad and only returned to China in the past 2 years. However, during the process of getting along with her, I discovered that Gage's foreign language skills were very poor and she even knew nothing about foreign languages. How could a person who has lived abroad for 20 years not understand foreign languages? Li Feixuan continued, but I didn't care. When Gage and I were together, we didn't talk about these topics. She likes photography, and we get along very well. Su Yang, you mean that Gage lost her memory and was picked up by Uncle Zhang and brought to the Zhang family? Li Feixuan asked doubtfully. Not sure. Su Yang shook his head, then smiled and said, it's pointless for us to guess. If you want to know the truth, just go to Zhang's house and ask. After hearing this, concubine Li nodded and said, I know where the Zhang family is. It's not far from here. I'll take you there. Good. Su Yang looked at Zhang Magu and said, Brother Magu, carry your sister on your shoulders and let's go together. The Zhang family has taken care of your sister for so long without harming her. She is still in perfect condition. Su Yang said, if you took her away quietly, it would be somewhat inappropriate. No matter what, you have to thank her and give her some benefits. Young Master Su is still thoughtful. Zhang Magu nodded in agreement. That's all. Su Yang and his party, led by Li Feixuan, walked to Zhangjia in Jiangbei. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 759. The Zhang family in Jiangbei is located not far from the Li family manor. Although it is not a manor, it is still a luxurious and beautiful villa. The Zhang family has not been rooted in Jiangbei for a long time, and they do not make a living. Some people speculate that the head of the Zhang family was originally from Jiangbei. He made a fortune doing business in other places and chose to return to his roots and start a family business in Jiangbei. It is said that the head of the Zhang family was a humble man and a philanthropist. Not long after arriving in Jiangbei, he joined the Jiangbei Charity Federation and contributed a lot, doing many good deeds. In particular, one year there was a flood in the north of the Yangtze River, leaving countless people homeless and without a home. The Zhang family advocated Yunhai, so they took the Zhang family's bodyguards to the flood fighting site, rescued the trapped people, distributed water and food, and even appeared in the official news, becoming a famous philanthropist in Jiangbei. Slowly, the status of the head of the Zhang family in the Charity Federation is getting higher and higher, and he is now the president of the Charity Federation. Zhang Yunhai is not only good at charity, he also provides money to build schools. Yunhai middle schools named after him are all over Jiangbei. According to incomplete statistics, 2/10 of rural middle schools are Yunhai Middle School. Although it is only 20%, it is enough for the entire Jiangbei. In addition, the middle school covers a huge area, and one middle school can be worth 2 or 3 ordinary elementary schools. This shows how much Zhang Yunhai has spent on charity. Today, Zhang Yunhai is known as Zhang Das Hanren and has a very good reputation in the minds of the people in Jiangbei. En route. Su Yang and Zhang Magu learned about the Zhang family's advocacy of Yunhai from Li Feixuan, and they both admired Zhang Yunhai. In this world, there are many rich people and many kind-hearted people, but those who can achieve the level of Zhang Yunhai are rare, and it can even be said that there are almost none. Especially Zhang Magu, after hearing Zhang Yunhai's deeds, he made up his mind to repay Zhang Yunhai well. He even planned to apply to his grandfather immediately after returning to Fenyang to give Zhang Yunhai a large sum of money, which he would treat as a donation for charity. Zhang Magu was also very relieved to donate money to a kind person like Zhang Yunhai. After all, he even donated his own money without reservation, so how could he embezzle the donations given to him by others? The group of people chatted and walked, and not long after, they arrived at the Zhang family villa. Outside the Zhang family villa, there were 2 servants guarding the door. They were dressed simply and their clothes were washed white. Li Feixuan has a good relationship with Zhang Yuge, so these 2 servants naturally know Li Feixuan. Miss Li, come find Miss Uge. Unfortunately, Miss Uge just went out and said she was going to the supermarket to buy snacks, one of the servants said with a smile. On the way here, Su Yang felt that it was somewhat inappropriate for Zhang Magu to hold the unconscious Zhang Yuge. There are so many people coming and going, and seeing a slovenly man holding a flowery girl will inevitably lead to misunderstandings. Therefore, Su Yang put Zhang Yuge into the storage ring, so as to avoid some troubles. Zhang Magu was not surprised by such a magical operation, but Li Feixuan was very surprised and asked Su Yang curiously. Su Yang had no choice but to explain and said that he would give Li Feixuan a storage ring. Li Feixuan was very happy all the way. I'm not looking for gig. I came here to see Uncle Zhang. Is he at home? Concubine Li Xian said with a smile. Here I am. The servant smiled and agreed, and then said, it's just that I don't know if the master is busy and has time to meet you. It will be the rainy season in a while. The master doesn't want the tragedy to happen again, so he is calling on major companies to donate. Prepare funds and prepare for floods in advance, so I have been busy recently. Miss Li, let's do this. You wait here for a while, and I'll report it to the head of the family. The servant continued, you and our Miss Uge are good friends, and the head of the family loves Miss Uge very much. I believe that no matter how busy he is, he will make time to see you. Then I'll trouble you, Concubine Li said with a smile. Ms. Li, you're welcome. The servant smiled, then looked at Su Yang and Zhang Magu, and asked curiously, Miss Li, who are these two? Oh, they are my friends and Uge's friends. They especially admire Uncle Zhang. Li Feixuan smiled softly and said, one of them is young Master Su from Jiangbei, and the other is also quite wealthy in other provinces. The main reason for coming here is to donate money. I see. When the servant heard about the donation, his eyes suddenly lit up, but then he reacted and said in surprise, Su, young Master Su, Miss Li, are you talking about the infamous young Master Su? Would he have the idea of donating? When Su Yang heard this, his expression suddenly became unnatural. Is my reputation really that bad? Some. Concubine Li said with a smile, my marriage to young Master Su must have spread throughout Jiangbei. Young Master Su often stays with me recently, and he has slowly changed his ways. Li Feixuan continued, with this donation, he also wanted to do some good deeds to atone for his previous evil deeds. That's it? The servant nodded, and then said with a smile, young Master Su is able to wake up, it is really a blessing for the people of Jiangbei. Damn it! Dude, what do you mean? What does it mean that I suddenly wake up and it is a blessing for the people of Jiangbei? Before I woke up, was I bullying the market, or was I in the fish and meat village? If you can't speak, can you just say a few words? Haha, Miss Li, I won't waste your time anymore. I will inform the head of the family now. The servant smiled, then looked at the servant next to him and ordered, take Miss Li and the others to the living room to wait, prepare some tea, and be sure to entertain them. Yes, another servant responded. Immediately afterwards, the servant clasped his fists, turned and walked into the villa, telling Zhang Yunhai to go. Interesting, one of the gatekeepers is actually an ancient warrior in the Tianzong realm. Su Yang watched the servant leave and couldn't help but said to himself, Jiangbei is a small place, and the Grand Master is basically invincible. My grandfather Sukinkan, Grandpa Li Chunfeng, and the previous Nalan ancestor of the Nalan family, the three of them can establish the three top families in Jiangbei with just the master level. Who would have thought that the hidden dragons and crouching tigers in the north of the Yangtze River, the little Zhang family, are unknown, but they hide the masters of Tianzong. Su Yang secretly guessed, presumably the Zhang family advocates Yunhai, and his strength exceeds that of Tianzong. Above Tianzong is Shenzong. Is it possible that he has stepped into the realm of Shenzong? Half a year ago, the revolution in ancient martial arts had not yet begun, and there were very few divine sects in the ancient martial arts world. Those figures at the level of the ancestors of the famous mountain sects are only at one level in the Shenzong, the land martial gods. This shows how powerful Shenzong is. Even though the ancient martial arts revolution has started now, it only lasts for half a year. It is really rare to see Tianzong Shenzong in this small place in Jiangbei. This Zhang family is not simple. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 760. Everyone, please come this way. At this time, Another servant on the scene smiled and made an invitation. His strength is not very strong, he is only at the master level, but for Jiangbei, he should be the top strong man. Next. Su Yang, Li Feixuan, and Zhang Magu followed the servant to the living room and waited quietly for the Zhang family leader Yun Hai. Su Yang, is that storage ring you mentioned really so magical? It's a small thing that has its own space inside and can store many items. At this moment, Li Feixuan was surprised as soon as she sat down. Asked. Su Yang smiled softly and said, "Of course it's true, wife, when have I lied to you? It's amazing, Su Yang, didn't you say you wanted to give me one? When will you give it to me?" Concubine Li looked at Su Yang with a pair of beautiful eyes full of longing. "Anytime." Su Yang smiled, and then said, "It's just that, my wife, the storage ring requires energy to open. You must become an ancient warrior or a cultivator, otherwise you cannot use the storage ring. Let's do this. You practice hard with me. When you reach the realm of energy transformation, I will give you a storage ring," Su Yang said with a smile. He said this on purpose. Didn't Li Feixuan want to hide his strength and see how his wife would respond? As expected, after hearing Su Yang's words, Li Feixuan became entangled. Now that she is hiding her strength, she hasn't had enough fun yet and plans to tease Su Yang. But if you continue to hide it, you won't be able to get the magical storage ring. Li Feixuan wanted the storage ring very much. After a fierce ideological struggle, she finally said, "Su Yang, actually I lied to you before. I have been an ancient warrior for a long time. If you don't believe me, look at this. This is my true energy." As she spoke, Li Feixuan spread her palms, and in an instant, a ball of true energy appeared on her palms beating. Certainly. Li Feixuan still had some reservations and only released the Genkai fluctuations in the Huajin realm. So angry. Su Yang naturally saw it, but on the surface he was shocked and said, "Honey, you are really an ancient warrior. Look at the fluctuations in Genkai. It's at least the middle stage of transforming energy. Wife, you are so awesome. You have become an ancient warrior in the state of transforming energy," Su Yang flattered with admiration. "Ha ha ha. Su Yang is so stupid. I had just shown a little bit of my strength, and he was so surprised, with disbelief on his face. If I exposed everything, I'm afraid he would be so frightened that he would slide off the sofa, right?" Su Yang's reaction made Li Feixuan very satisfied. After a moment of pride, she said modestly, "As for being so surprised, I am the only one who can't compare with you. You are much better than me." Of course, this was not what Li Feixuan was thinking. She felt that she was better than Su Yang and could even crush Su Yang. She was just teasing Su Yang. But what Li Feixuan didn't know was that she was right, Su Yang was really much better than her. Su Yang and Li Feixuan are both acting. No, 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 my wife, you are still awesome. It has only been half a year, and you are still able to achieve such an achievement. You are simply a genius in the ancient martial arts world." Su Yang said seriously, looking at all the famous mountains, "For 500 years, I'm afraid no one can surpass you. It turns out that my talent is so strong." "Wrong. My true talent is even stronger, ha ha ha, I am simply the most talented cultivator of all time." Li Feixuan felt particularly proud, but on the surface she said modestly, "It's not that exaggerated. Stop praising me. Su Yang, give me the storage ring quickly." "Okay." Su Yang smiled and then asked, "I have a few storage rings here, but they can only store items, not living things. I only use them myself and can store living things. Honey, let me give you this ring for storing living things. It will be more convenient for you to use." "No, you can keep it for yourself." Li Feixuan said, "Just give me other things. I usually don't bring living things with me, I just bring some cosmetics, clothes, and the like. Also, if I have a storage ring, I won't have to carry a bag when I go shopping in the future. Haha, I feel happy just thinking about it, concubine Li said with a smile. Oh well. Li Feixuan is here, and she brought two friends with her. Zhang Yunhai opened his eyes and spoke calmly. Hearing this, Zhang Yunhai's eyes flashed with coldness. Haha, the old rule is to list the rejected ones and make them public, so that they can be squeezed out by the whole province, and then recycle them at a low price when they are about to go bankrupt. Correct. Miss Uge went out and hasn't come back yet. After stopping Zhang Magu, Su Yang sent a message from his soul. It's just that she thought I didn't know, so she deliberately hid it from me and wanted to tease me. This storage ring is sealed by imperial decree, and Su Yang has already taken out all the contents. Brother Mugu, I know that she has already reached the realm of martial master. It was the power I gave her through the ancient martial transformation that allowed her to step into this realm. Su Yang also has several storage rings, all of which he snatched from experts from outside the region. Zhang Yunhai seemed to have thought of something, and then asked, where has Uge gone? Why didn't I notice her aura in the villa? Miss Li is here, shouldn't she receive her? He has reached an old age. Although he lives in the city, he still has a full head of silver hair. Dare you refuse me? Zhang Yunhai was sitting cross-legged in the room. The previous servant had already reported the matter to the head of the family, and was now standing aside respectfully. Su Yang nodded, and then with a thought, there was a storage ring in his hand. After Zhang Magu learned about it, he showed a smile of understanding and said no more. Zhang family villa, 3rd floor. At the same time, the notice has been sent out. The charity conference will be held tomorrow. Most people have expressed their opinions and will definitely participate, but some people have refused, the servant said. After. Well, don't forget to tell her to take medicine when you come back. Her memory has been a little loose recently. Yes. Zhang Yunhai showed a smile and then asked, I asked you to contact major entrepreneurs in the province and organize them to donate. How did you do? Exactly, Miss Li said. He came to make a donation, the servant said with a playful smile. I guess he feels that he has done too many bad things and wants to do some good deeds to make up for it. Haha, that's great. The more people like this, the better. Just like that, Su Yang, Li Feixuan, and Zhang Magu were in the living room, waiting for the Zhang family to advocate Yunhai. At this time, Zhang Magu approached Su Yang and whispered something, but was interrupted by Su Yang. Li Feixuan was extremely happy when she saw the storage ring. She put it on her hand and almost jumped up with joy. Haha! I also hid this from her before. She probably wanted to take advantage of me, so I simply cooperated with her, pretended not to know, and cooperated with her acting. Su Yang told the whole story. Zhang Yunhai ordered, don't drop the medicine I prepared even once, otherwise she is likely to regain her memory. The servant next to him responded, Master, one of Miss Li's two friends is the eldest young master of the Su family, Su Yang. Su Yang taught Li Feixuan how to use it, and Li Feixuan sat on the sofa next to him and started studying. Young Master Su, Miss Li's strength. Su Qianqin's grandson, Zhang Yunhai asked. Zhang Yunhai's beard is not long, it is also silver white, his eyes are lively, and he looks energetic. Yes, the servant responded respectfully.